Hello, welcome to Get Lit. I'm Kate.
And I'm Pat, and welcome to the Civic Center Library here at Scottsdale.
We're here to share our beautiful library with you, as well as some services, books, and more that we're really excited about.
And we think you will be too. So, come on in with us. Hello everyone, I'm Pat from the Civic Center Library, and today I am coming to you from the Civic Center Library Shop. Along with me is Brandon Chapman, supervisor of the volunteers and the mastermind of our wonderful library shop. Brandon, could you please tell us how do you make this fantastic shop work?
Well, we're currently at the Civic Center Library Shop. We do have a library shop in each one of our 4 buildings. At the moment, we only have the Civic Center Library and the Mustang Library open to the public. All the items we're going to take a look at as we walk through the library shop come to us from donations from the public. You'll see books, generally used magazines, DVDs, music CDs. Sometimes we even get things like jigsaw puzzles, and an assortment of items like that. Now, normally all the items you see in the library shop are processed by the library's volunteers. At the moment, because of volunteer fears, all of our volunteers are on hiatus. That leaves me and my assistant Kalea to largely do all of this work ourselves. So you see 2 people in the library now doing the work of dozens of volunteers. What we have to do is we sort through all of the items that the people give us. It's, like I said, lots and lots and lots of items, books, DVDs, it runs the gamut of different things. But each one has to be sorted through, we price it, we make decisions on what's the best option for it, because we do have some options for monetizing items that don't really fit in our library shop. Every now and then we get items that are extremely rare and old. Sometimes we get items that are just a little too valuable for the shop, because as we walk through the shop, you'll see this is a place for great bargains. Most of the things you're going to see in here are for less than $10. In fact, most of the things in here are for around $2 or even a quarter. So we'll walk through the shop, I'll show you some of the great things that we get, and I encourage if you have books at home and you're saying, hey, that's a good way to maybe get rid of all that backlog of what I have, we'll be glad to get them from you.
Brandon, you mentioned a tour of the library shop. I would love to see all of the things that you have.
Definitely.
Take it away.
Now, one of the most popular items that we get in the shop are the magazines. These are 50 cents each, so it's an incredible bargain. We do accept, if you're thinking about bringing donations into us for the magazines, we like pretty much any title, but we do ask that it's a current issue or maybe 3 issues back. There are some exceptions. Very old Arizona Highways are wonderful, but we do get a lot of them in those kind of middle years. So if it's something before the 1960s, we love it. But you can see we get all the popular titles. Some of these just fly off the shelves for us. This is probably our most popular part, and even if you tip these up, you can find even more underneath there. One of the things that the volunteers also do for us is they create what we call upcycle crafts. So they'll take items that maybe we had no use for, a book that we were going to get rid of, and they will turn it into something like these wonderful little greeting cards. So these greeting cards are going to be on sale coming in the holiday season here. We've got a lovely holiday display here. We'll have lots of seasonal items for you, so another great way to come in and find gift items for maybe the holidays. Some of the most popular items we get cookbooks. People love their cookbooks, and we do get some really beautiful cookbooks. We also get a lot of gorgeous art books, big coffee table quality books, gently used. Some of them come to us, they're almost brand new. So again, another great gift idea. Beautiful art books, cookbooks. We also have health, self-help, gardening, poetry. We get all kinds of wonderful things here. We have lots of paperbacks. This is very popular when the world is functioning normally and we have tourists in town, where they can get a book for 50 cents that they can sit around the pool and read and not have to worry about leaving it, taking it back with them home. So lots of paperbacks. We also have, I mentioned, we sometimes get very old, wonderful books, but some of them are a little too delicate, a little too rare, and we send them off for online sales. Not all of them. Some of them are really nice, and we put them out in the shop too. So these are ones that are old, maybe not quite so rare or quite so valuable, but you can find a rare gem in here every now and then. So we have books in here sometimes as old as 100 years, sometimes even from the 18th century. This is a really fun way to come and do a little bit of treasure hunting. We also have large print items. We have audiobooks, books on CD. We have hardback fiction. Now, these aren't just moldy oldies. These are some really good items. These along here are all 2019, 2020 books. So these are the popular ones that maybe if you're already waiting on the old list for a library item and you're number 234, you might want to maybe come to the library shop. These are some really great items. They're super popular. And then also what we have is we have library merchandise. So we have library t-shirts, we have tote bags in a variety of colors, and we have some fun items which we call sport packs, which are little backpacks for the kids. You can see they're all kind of different animal faces right there. So that's another fun idea for the holidays coming up too.
Wow, Brandon, what an incredible library shop you have created. Could you tell us more about this wonderful display for the children?
Well, one of our library employees, Kalea, created this display. The kids stuff is one of our most popular parts in the library shop. We have things for the kids from the littlest ages all the way up to the teenagers. You can see some of the beautiful items. We have the board books for the really little ones. We have picture books. We have this beautiful Christmas display. It's got a little bit of everything out for you, which reminds me the holidays are coming up, which you can't plan too early for.
There we go. So here it is, November already, and I'm thinking of my holiday shopping list. I am thinking of buying local, searching Black Friday deals, and what a better place to start than our very own library shop. Books, movies, music, magazine, gifts, miscellaneous items. I can't wait to begin. But the library shop is here every day. Please make it a point on your library visit to swing through and see what you can find for your friends and families. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Pat.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Get Lit Books and More portion of our edition this week. In our last one we mentioned that I was going to be talking about cookbooks that will inspire you for Thanksgiving and just in general. So what we're going to do in this segment is I'm going to talk about things, some of which are very new in our collection, that I think will be very exciting to all of us this time of year, and also books that we've had in our collection in some cases for quite a while that I borrowed again and again and began to monopolize so that nobody else could get a look at them, and then I realized they were so good I needed to own my own copy. So I'm hoping that you'll get really excited about some of these books, which are wonderful just for their own sakes, not only as cookbook and recipe references, but just as books to have and look at and appreciate. So we're going to begin first with some things that are brand new, some things that are specifically for Thanksgiving, and other things that just lend themselves to this time of year. Always Home, this is a 2020 brand new one. Now most of you who appreciate food, as I do, know who Alice Waters is. Now, she's the one who founded Chez Panisse and is often thought of as the mother of the farm-to-table movement. Well, her daughter Fanny has written a memoir about growing up with Alice Waters as her mother, and now Alice Waters, I should say. A lot of us would love to be inside the scenes and see what that's like. So I'm just going to read you a little bit, give you a little taste of what you might get with this memoir. Singer's memoir, Always Home, A Daughter's Recipes and Stories, is a tender portrait of the woman better known as the mother of the farm-to-table movement. You'll probably pick up this book because you're curious about how it feels to grow up with Alice Waters as your mother. But you will inevitably be captivated by Fanny Singer's sensuous voice and sensible soul. Mark Bittman, I know you know who he is, it says that this is a charming and unique, almost love story, almost memoir, with predictably fabulous recipes. This is another book, like so many I'm going to be talking about today, that you'll want to have just to read. You're going to learn, you're going to be inspired, and I think that you're going to have a hard time putting it down. Another nice new 2020 very exciting book is Meals, Music, and Muses, Recipes from My African American Kitchen by Alexander Smalls. Alexander Smalls is a modern Renaissance man. He is the former chef and owner of Cafe Beulah and the Cecil, named Best New Restaurant in America by Esquire magazine in 2014. He's the founder of 3 other New York City restaurants, and he's also a known opera singer, 2019 James Beard Award winner. This is a lovely book about African American cuisine throughout history, and it's also inspired by his love of music, and it's in fact divided into genres of music. So he equates jazz to starters, and then you've got gospel, and you've got opera. Opera is fish and seafood. And divas, opening night dishes, meat and chicken. And let me just give you, here's a lovely quote from also another wonderful writer, Kwame Alexander. He says, "If wine is bottled poetry and jazz is brown sugar sprinkled in your ear, then meals, music, and muses is a smorgasbord of fine words and sounds, a delicious symphony of haute cuisine that will make you want to kiss your mama." Now, let me show you also beautiful photographs and illustrations all the way through, and I want to especially show you the frontispiece with the picture of the author. Now, look at this man. Don't you want to know everything he has to say to you? Yes, you do. Go ahead, pick up this book. Again, you're not going to be putting it down anytime soon. All right. So now, thinking of Thanksgiving in particular, we got some old things, we got some new things. I thought I'd mention this to begin with. Now, I'm mostly talking about cookbooks here, but here's a very interesting book by a well-known writer. Melanie Kirkpatrick is a senior fellow at the Hudson Institute and former deputy editor of Wall Street Journal's editorial page. What this is a collection of facts and curiosities about Thanksgiving, the holiday, from its very inception long ago, as we know of, in the 1600s, but interesting ways that it's grown and changed over the years, interesting laws and things that were decided upon that changed when Thanksgiving would be, and the uproar that that caused, and what it means to all of us all around the country, and what it's turned into, what its origins are. You can dip into it anywhere, and anywhere you dip into it, you're going to find out something where I didn't know that was true, and you're going to come away maybe even feeling a little more thankful this year. Now, speaking of feeling thankful, I don't know, the word Friendsgiving is becoming more and more popular, just the idea that maybe you don't get together all the time with all the people you'd like to see over Thanksgiving, but that any family that you have available to you is something to be thankful for. And a lot of us, I think, this year are not going to be able to have the big family gathering that we're used to. This is an interesting little collection of just 25 recipes. It's not like everything you could possibly want as a suggestion for your Thanksgiving table, but it's just a few little suggestions that would work nicely, and just some essays and ideas of what it is to be thankful and to feel fortunate and to have people to feel close to and thankful for on the holidays. And it's got charming illustrations. It's sort of in the same spirit as a lot of the what is it called, Hygge books about feeling, being happy in small little ways, right? We're talking about trying to find the wonder in tiny little things, and to feel thankful at any given moment for any small kindness or happiness that we find. Now, this lady, this is set for the holidays, Anna Olson. This lady is very well known. She's a Food Network diva. She has had several shows on Food Network, and she also has a YouTube Oh Yum show, and she's a true professional baker. So if you want luscious and inspiring recipes for the holidays in general, not just Thanksgiving, this is a lovely one to pick up. It's just seasonal celebrations. And this is volume 4 of a serious series of baking books. This is Baking from Scratch, Bake from Scratch magazine. You can find the recipes for free on the internet, by the way, or for free you can check out all 4 of these enormous tomes of Bake from Scratch. They are, of course, beautifully photographed. Maybe you want to make a pumpkin spice layer cake instead of a pumpkin pie this year. Maybe you want to make some pecan caramel tassels. Maybe you want to make maid of honor tarts. In any case, one thing that you find out from a lot of these books is there are often associated websites that you can go for and get free recipes as well. Pat and I, Pat is standing over there, have agreed that although we both love cookbooks, often the easiest thing to do if you want a recipe these days is to, as my mother says, consult the oracle and go find out exactly the recipe you want from the internet. And in many cases, the people who do these books also have correlating websites that you can appreciate and have fun with. My Drunk Kitchen, Holidays. Some of you already know Hannah Hart. I'm thinking she wrote first My Drunk Kitchen, which was a big sensation. It isn't exactly what you would think. Not everything is about getting lit, as we might say in this show. It is an appreciation of that sort of partying, but that isn't all it is. The lovely thing about Hannah Hart is her lightheartedness, if you will. She approaches everything with a sort of youthful exuberance that's very refreshing for some of us who are past that time in our lives. She's just charming and funny and fun, gay in every way. You're really going to enjoy her stuff. And I would absolutely encourage you to pick up this one, especially because it goes through a year of holidays, including all those ones you didn't know were holidays. It even has like Left-Handers Day, Love People Day, things like that. Okay, so when we come back, I'm going to also talk about the books that I now own that I first found at the library and that I couldn't resist. Hey everyone, I've caught my breath and I'm back again. I'm very excited about this segment of this segment. What I'm going to be doing is talking here about books that I initially took out from the library because they were intriguing, they looked beautiful, they looked exciting, and they were in fact so intriguing and exciting that I couldn't bring them back. And of course I inevitably did because I'm a very good citizen that way, as I'm sure you are too. But I realized I couldn't keep monopolizing the library's copy of everything and should probably buy my own. So I predict that if you check out at least a couple of these, you're going to feel the same way. And some of them do lend themselves specifically to the holidays, but they are for all year-round inspiration. All right, now, Nigella Lawson isn't so much in front of us every day as she was maybe 10 years ago. You may know her very well if you know Food Network. She's a lovely, voluptuous British lady, smart as a whip. She's a journalist as well, an Oxford graduate. And she had a book, or rather she had not only this book, but also a TV show called Nigella Feasts. You can tell this lady really appreciates food from deep down in her soul. And she's also such a good writer that even if you were locked out of your kitchen and couldn't get to it, you would feel grateful. You would almost feel as if you were actually eating all these things that she's describing. And so this book, Nigella Feasts, she talks about every occasion of the year where you might make something special for a gathering, just for yourself, just for your family. And coming from her particular sensibility, she grew up Jewish, but isn't particularly religious, but has a lot of the love of the food and the culture. And of course, she is also British. Now, a lot of people think, British? They don't know how to cook. Well, believe me, the British who love food are really some exceptional cooks and have some wonderful traditions. Look at this, jeweled cupcakes, so pretty for the holidays. And so, yes, as you can tell, not strictly religious in the Jewish way because you have a rolled loin of pork. And then also, though, you do have the New Year's holiday, you have caviar and potato pancakes for 10. And just in Rosh Hashanah, you have the most beautiful photographs all the way through this. And you know, she's a mother as well, so if you have family, you'll feel very inspired to work with your kids too. These are kid-friendly. One thing I love about Nigella too is that she's not intimidating as a cookbook writer. You can tell that every one of these recipes is vetted and tested, and you can tackle them yourself. It's not like one of those chef cookbooks where it seems more like, look what I know how to do. This is something you're going to be able to do too, so I really encourage you to get this one. Now, another lady, very famous, Joan Nathan, really is the grande dame of Jewish cookbooks and cuisine, I would say, arguably, in our country. She's written ever so many books, but this one was one that I happened to catch when it came out, and I couldn't bring it back to the library because it is basically, here, let me say this, there is no greater authority on Jewish cooking than Joan Nathan. King Solomon's Table is a comprehensive guide to global Jewish cooking that is approachable, informative, and mouth-watering. This is what she sets out to do, and she achieves it in this book. She goes all over the country. Jewish culture is, in fact, international. It is all over the world. So you've got every continent, maybe except Antarctica, represented here, and the people who live there, and what Jewish food is like, and how it's developed over time and over places. Every page, you're going to see such lovely photographs. Do you remember when shakshuka was suddenly in every single restaurant? You'll want her recipe because it's better than all those. Do you want to try maybe double lemon chicken instead of a turkey for a change? Maybe throw a few olives in there? You're not going to be able to keep out of the kitchen when you see these. Look at these beautiful things. Maybe you don't celebrate Purim at home, but you're going to want to because you're going to want to make hamantaschen. Look at these, look how beautiful they are. You're going to want to do every recipe in this book. So remember, King Solomon's Table, Joan Nathan. Heidi Swanson, a California girl like myself. She has a wonderful website called 101 Cookbooks. All the recipes are free. This, Supernatural Every Day, she's also a photographer. So she photographs all of the things she makes. And throughout this book and her website, you'll see her gorgeous photographs. Here's a recipe dear to me, rye soda bread. I don't know why, I'm Irish, but I can't seem to make soda bread that works out. For some reason, Heidi's recipe worked out for me. She has a way of making everything doable. Now, she is vegetarian, and so are all her recipes, but you will want to make them for their own sake, whether or not you keep to those same rules and beliefs. Beautiful photographs, beautiful recipes, lovely inspiration, especially if you liked baked goods. Check out 101 Cookbooks. It's a wonderful website. This book, I feel, changed my life. Jennifer Reese. If you could say I'm a groupie for any writer, this is the lady. Jennifer Reese has a blog, called The Tipsy Baker. She basically, here's what she set out to do. It said, one woman, this is for her website called The Tipsy Baker, one woman cooks her way through her collection of not 101 cookbooks like Heidi, but 1,000 cookbooks, and feeds the recipes to her family. Okay, so that was quite an undertaking, and it began over a decade ago when her kids were still living at home. And if you read the blog, all the blog is a web blog, it's a web diary. She used to add to it several times a week, and she would have new recipes all the time from all these cookbooks she owned. She's kind of snarky, she's very funny, very opinionated. You'll fall in love with her and really feel you know her and her whole family once you get started. These are a lot of the things that are from that blog. They're excerpts from that blog where you get to know her, you get to know her family. Read the chapter on eggs, because you'll find out what it's like to try and raise chickens in Northern California just in a regular neighborhood, and the ups and downs of that amazing undertaking, and why you would or would not want to do it. This particular book, though, the specific idea of this, it's called Make the Bread, Buy the Butter. She takes it upon herself to try to make at home everything we would ordinarily buy, from butter to cheese to ketchup to raising your own eggs and chickens and anything, bread, of course, anything that you would ordinarily buy at the store, mustard. And then she decides afterwards, is it worth making at home? Are you better off buying it? And a lot of the times she encourages you to make it yourself. But in the case of butter, she says it's a little too expensive to make at home. Anyway, you'll fall in love with her voice as a writer, and you'll want to keep on reading. And you can check out The Tipsy Baker, which unfortunately, her kids are away from home now, and I think she kind of lost heart to keep contributing to it. You've got over a decade of excerpts and entries to fall in love with. Anyway, you'll want to make everything in this book, and you'll want to buy the book. Veganomicon. Whether or not you are a vegan, you should look at this book. Now, I tried to be a vegan for 7 months, and I was very strict about it for 7 months until I went to Iceland. It's kind of difficult to be a vegan in Iceland and to observe those rules. So when in Reykjavik, do as the Icelanders do, I thought. But if you're going to try to be vegan, even more meals per week. Know that you're doing your body and the planet a favor. If you want inspiring vegan meals that you'll want to keep on making just because they're so good, you gotta start with Isa Chandra Moskowitz. She is the head guru of the vegan movement. Isa Chandra Moskowitz, don't forget her. She wrote something called Post-Punk Kitchen. She also had a corresponding website. Wonderful, funny, fun. All of her stuff is. And you can find a lot of her on the net as well. There's a vegan gumbo recipe on here that made me start growing my own okra every year. And I still use it to this day, even though I am no longer vegan. Look at this here. This doesn't look like a library book. You know why? It's my own copy that I used so many times I've broken the binding. It's vegetable literacy, but you can tell that the duct tape that covers it up now makes it say gettable literacy. I have used it so many times that it has fallen apart. The library still owns copies. You're going to want to own your own copy. You're going to want to own everything by Deborah Madison. What a lovely writer she is. If you love vegetables, if you love plants, this is going to be a book that you just swoon over. Her writing is so lovely. You're going to find out things about plants and about vegetables that you never knew. Let me just read you a little excerpt. Okay, the carrot family. It's divided into what families vegetables fall into. Some basic kitchen vegetables and a passel of herbs. It said, because I overlooked some carrots in my garden one fall, I was rewarded with a display of large, lacy flowers the following summer. They bobbed in the breeze, bent in the wind, and stood tall and stately when the weather was calm. My cat would race out into the garden, pull up short at a provident spot, and give a nodding blossom a whack with his big paw, and then zoom off, ears pinned back, fur rising along his spine. And then later, when she talks about, she says, the buds turned open white flowers, followed by an eventual curling inward of the stems and faded blooms, as if to hold the maturing seeds safely captive. A halo of fine feathery greens framed each flower, and the plush surface of the blossom easily supported an insect's ramblings, like the iridescent blue wasp I watched one day making his way from edge to edge. I picked the flowers for bouquets, and visitors to the house thought I was growing something very exotic. Now this is just some of the writing that you're going to get in here, but you're going to find out I didn't know carrots were related to celery, to cumin, to dill, to fennel, to parsley, to Queen Anne's lace, parsnips. They're all in one family. They're all called umbellifers. The sunflower family, some rough stuff from out of doors, as her dad called it when he was losing his memory. I believe he used to be a botanist himself, and all he could see when he saw the illustrations, the botanical illustrations, was what looked like some rough stuff from out of doors. But this is where you find out that thistles and all daisies and sunflowers and tarragon and lettuce are all one big happy family. And you see it once you start growing them yourself, the similarities that you see among them. And you're just going to be so excited, not only by the beautiful photographs and the botanical facts in this, but by the wonderful recipes. And this also is vegetarian, but you'll hardly notice it, because all you're going to really notice is how exciting everything is in here. And you're going to have a copy like I do with a broken spine in no time at all. Well, I hope you'll forgive my ramblings. If there's anything that you didn't catch and that you want to hear a repeat of, you can write us a comment card. You can go online to do this, or you can come in person and fill out one of those. You can also submit an Ask a Librarian question, and it will get to us. Remember, if you have anything at all in mind that you think it would be fun for us to feature on Get Lit, just let us know. I hope you have a lovely fall holiday, and we'll be back in just a couple weeks.